in our implementation, when we're doing a Lobby CRE implementation today, most of our implementations are less than 30 days. Now, if you've ever been through a property management system migration or putting one in the first place, you're like, oh my God, I'm never going through this again. Right. So much pain, so much agony, never doing it. Right. Instead, we recognize that real estate is built on people.
Welcome to the How to Scale Commercial Real Estate Show. Whether you are an active or passive investor, we'll teach you how to scale your real estate investing business into something big.
Ann Hollander is the CEO of Lobby CRE, a 30 capital company. She's making an impression in CRE and Tech as one of the few CEOs with a background in both real estate operations and rapidly scaling technology companies. Ann, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Sam. So thrilled to be here.
Absolutely. The pleasure is mine. And there are 3 questions I ask every guest who comes on the show in 90 seconds or less. Can you tell me, where did you start? Where are you now? And how did you get there?
Yeah, absolutely. So started here, my career in real estate here in Dallas, in leasing and marketing operations at a small portfolio, about 30 properties or so in the Dallas area. Got my feet wet in the value add space, but technology was always my calling. And so I find myself now right at that intersection, working right between technology and real estate to help improve performance.
What does that even mean? When you say that,
let's talk about improving performance, right? It's that thing that everybody wants, everybody says, and nobody really quite knows how to get to. Right. So when we think about improving performance, depending on who you are and what your role is inside of real estate, that can mean a number of different things. Right. The way that we think about this here at 30 Capital is improving the returns that you have so that you can get to that promote. We're very focused in the general partner and very focused in returning that money and returning as much performance as we can back to the investor as well. We do this with technology. We know that there have been a number of other industries who have started down the path and already seen so many of the benefits that technology can provide. But by putting technology into place, we find ourselves getting to a place where not only we can be much more efficient in what we do, but much more effective as well.
When you say that, when you say putting technology into place, like what are some high level things that come to mind that you say, man, these are some things we've done that have juiced that performance? Because again, I'm going back to what you said, which is we want to obviously juice the performance of projects so we can actually get to the general partner promote. Like that's good for the investor and that's good for you as a general partner.
Yeah.
But what are those things that you guys are doing, or what technologies come to mind that you feel like you use maybe that other people would benefit from?
Yeah, absolutely. So as we think about this, right, let's go way back in time. First major jump in technology was being able to write things down, pen and paper, right? And I myself am a member of the Red Pen Club, and I will print things out, mark them up, Absolutely. And decide what it is I need to do. However, when I do that, I'm not able to look at nearly enough data to necessarily understand the finer points or the more contextual points that are potentially affecting my performance, slowing me down and creating a lag there. And so then along comes Microsoft Excel. And I got to tell you, nobody wakes up in the morning wanting to get into their Excel spreadsheets. But this is what folks do today within real estate. They try to put all of this data together, manually manipulate it, and hopefully it will spit out an answer that is acceptable and that you know what your path forward looks like. But Excel doesn't really cut it. That's still creating that lag on performance. We've got Excel documents flying around through the organization. It's not getting data fast enough. I know that I have big fingers and sometimes fat finger numbers, columns, whole sheets of things. And so what we have today now is another step forward, right? So from pen and paper to Excel, now from Excel into Lobby CRE, where we're really managing all 4 levers of performance across the real estate portfolio. We're managing the operational data that's coming in. So understanding all of those leading indicators around leasing and marketing, around delinquency, around all of the financials, the costs and income that may be generated in the property. We're looking at your debt and understanding what that looks like, and understanding not only the covenants and obligations that you have as you're beginning to manage and optimize that debt, but then also what your options are to generate cash back out of that. Lots of folks might be sitting on a particular gold mine. And as folks, especially today, are looking at options for refi or sell, they're going, oh, I didn't know that there was an additional $300,000 here, $500,000, $800,000 that we could pull out of this. We're looking at the equity, which I think listeners of your podcast here certainly know something about already, but being able to understand what those ownership contributions look like, what those distributions look like, what timing can look like on this, and balancing that across these other levers is really critical here. And then finally, probably the least sexy, but most important of all is our entity management, right? Being able to manage those legal structures, understanding what your tax obligations look like, understanding what your insurance obligations look like, and of course, what that corporate structure above these investments is.
That's a lot of moving pieces to compile into one software platform.
It absolutely is.
This is a proprietary platform that you guys have developed in-house?
It is, yes. And so we developed this after multiple generations inside of real estate. We're struggling with the same exact problem, right? Pen and paper wasn't cutting it. Microsoft Excel, not cutting it. And so finally we decided, you know what, we're going to build our own solution. And so for the last 3 years, that's exactly what we've done. We've now introduced this into market, partnered up with a number of industry organizations, and have more than 600 clients now enjoying the benefits of Lobby CRE.
Wow, that's really cool. But you built it for your own portfolio.
We absolutely did. Selfishly, we did.
Right. Now I love that approach, because I feel like you will end up building a better product in the end than necessarily somebody that comes along and sees a problem in the industry and goes, hey, I can help you solve that. You're like, hey, I'm going to fix the problem myself. And then once we have it in-house and it's functional, we can then sell it to the rest of the market that needs it as well.
Exactly right. We understand these workflows. We understand the give and take that comes into these workflows. We understand the role of people inside of these workflows as well, right? We see a lot of other technologists come into this space who, want to let go of Aunt Mary, who's been running payroll for forever and ever, and they don't understand the family dynamics that go into a real estate investment. And so we're really considering, okay, how can I make Aunt Mary more effective here? How can I give you a lot more power just simply by using technology, rather than having to do this manually every single day?
Right. And you hit on even problems, that I think about it in our own business. You hit on it. It's the Excel sheet, it's the entity management, it's when's this filing due, when's that come up, who's taking and you can build systems around it. But again, like you said, it's still similar to pen and paper in its own right. And then it requires us to go back in and look at it and go, oh, right. No, that's due on April 15th or whatever it is. I'm thinking of taxes here more, I guess, probably the date that came to mind. But, I think that you're hitting, obviously, that what you've built is solving an industry problem. Is there a stage at which a real estate investment company should begin considering a platform like yours? Or
I'd say the earlier, the better, right? Why get yourself into a place where you're developing manual workflows inside of your organization? Start early, build these processes from the beginning, understand what these workflows are, and get your team trained up as early as you can. Now, if you're pretty deep into your investments already, you've got 10, 20, 30, 50, 100 assets already, that's okay too. Our team will work with you to help update what those workflows are inside of your organization to be sure that everybody is getting value out of Lobby CRE.
Yeah, absolutely. So where do you guys go as a business? I mean, if you're building, and I know you use the term technologist, that's not a term I'm familiar with because I can barely send an email. So you won't be calling me for tech support, that's for sure. But tell me this, where do you guys go as a company? I mean, if you guys started as real estate investors and that's what you've known for so long, you built a platform that then services your own business, do you guys then kind of veer off and go into the software I guess you call it software as a service side of things, or do you stay in real estate? Where are you guys going?
We're actually doing both. We believe so strongly in the things that we built of improving our own real estate portfolio that we have the two things side by side within the business here at 30 Capital. We're never going to abandon real estate. We love real estate. We know real estate. That is our home for sure. We are a real estate first organization. I come in as more of that tech person that has a little bit of real estate background to help build out, launch, and then scale what these technology solutions can do for us as an organization. Again, focused on our own real estate portfolio, but then really also focused on the mid-market space as well. We know that there are other technology companies out there doing something kind of similar, but really serving that top end of the market, those top 100 real estate investors that exist out there. There's nobody that's been serving this mid-market space. And that's the spot that, that's our sweet spot. That's what we know. That's what we love.
Can you define mid-market for me?
Sure. So under 5 billion in AUM.
Okay. Great. No, that's extremely helpful. Let's go back to what you called the 4 levers of performance, and then tell me maybe in a little greater detail how exactly this software platform is helping end users, I guess, pull those levers of performance.
Absolutely. So what we see today, and this is certainly was true in our own real estate portfolio, is that we were taking a very siloed approach. So we were just looking at ops, just looking at marketing and leasing, just looking at occupancy and vacancy, just looking at delinquency, just looking at the expenses down at the individual asset level. And that's great. That's what a lot of organizations are doing today. But when we begin to put other data sets next to this, so debt, for example, understanding what my debt obligation is, understanding my AM schedule, understanding the covenants of this loan, and what my options are to help generate cash back out of that, suddenly some of the decisions that I made over in the ops side didn't look quite as optimized as they could have been. Same thing goes with equity. Same thing goes with entity. As I begin to put these things together and not having to do so manually, or not having to pull data out of so many disparate systems that none of it talks to one another. What I'm able to see is actually optimizing not only the individual asset, but larger across the portfolio as well. So if I'm invested in multiple assets, I may decide, okay, with this particular asset, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. This one, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Across the portfolio that I have, I'm going to get a stronger return because I'm able to optimize each one in light of the whole.
Got it. That's really, really compelling. And what can you tell me about data management as it pertains to Lobby CRE?
So I know you're not a tech person, and nor do I expect anybody in real estate to be tech people. You brought up this point earlier. I want to come back around to this. Real estate people need to be real estate people. You need to go operate, manage your real estate, and not really worry about the tech.
Right.
Where Lobby CRE can step in. But let's talk about data management for a minute, because I think this is one of those areas that is greatly misunderstood, especially in the real estate space. Data management. So you're probably not even thinking about how much data that you're sending back and forth in an Excel file today, right?
Probably not. No.
Probably not. Just like, okay, it's just data on a sheet.
Right.
What if that data fell into someone else's hands that it wasn't intended for? What if it had sensitive information, investor information, addresses, contribution amounts, right? The risk begins to come up that if that's in the wrong hands, whether it's even somebody inside of the org that you find yourself in, or if it's somebody outside of your organization, that could be bad for you.
Right.
So what we do here within Lobby CRE is handle all of that for you. You don't have to think about it. It's all on one platform. All of your users are managed. Anybody can come in, and you can set up what those parameters are, what they can access, when they can access it, and how they access that. So data management is huge in this particular space. We think about how much data that a real estate asset or a real estate portfolio can generate. It's staggering, right? If it's Facebook and Twitter and the rest of it, just shame for the amount of data that a real estate asset can generate. And so if without some data management actually in place through a provider or through a partner that you know and you trust to do this for you, you open yourself up for a lot of risk that I don't think a lot of people are actually seeing.
Yeah, I guess easy example there. And again, maybe I'm talking a little bit outside of my depth, but let's talk about a multifamily property, right? Let's say you got 250 units on if you're trading data back and forth on all of your tenants, on everything they've paid, on this and that, does this allow you to interface with your property management company back to Lobby CRE so that it all stays kind of housed in one secure?
You nailed it.
Okay.
You're a technologist. You just didn't know it. Right? You're solving the same problems, right, that we're trying to solve as well. Right. Let's use that multifamily example. If I pull that rent roll out of the property management system, it's going to come with all that personally identifiable information, right? All those things that we never want to get breach alerts about.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
We don't want to do that. And so a provider then to help you manage all of this, help take that risk off of your plate and not have to worry about it is huge in my mind.
How do you work? What I have found with some technology solutions is in the end, they end up creating, and obviously yours doesn't do this, but just tell me how you guys worked around this. They end up creating more work than if you just went out and just did it manually. I've seen this on some things where it's like, oh my gosh, like by the time we get this set up, we might as well have just gotten on the phone and just had phone calls and written it on paper and sent it in the mail. So how have you guys effectively solved that? I guess when I think about interfacing with the property management company back to us as owners, bringing on our investors and making sure all of this gets dumped into one place that is easy to access, but yet difficult to access. Tell me.
Yeah. So we handle it. Is the short version of that. So in our implementation, when we're doing a Lobby CRE implementation today, most of our implementations are less than 30 days. Now, if you've ever been through a property management system migration or putting one in the first place, you're like, oh my God, I'm never going through this again. Right. So much pain, so much agony, never doing it. Right. Instead, we recognize that real estate is built on people. And the people that are in those particular spots. And so we forge those relationships directly with those people to help make this as an easy and seamless transfer as we possibly can. Once it's up and running, then we go into our next phase of being sure that everybody in your organization is now leveraging what the platform looks like. So we're very deep into the analytics within the platform to make sure that, hey, are you using this dashboard? Hey, do you know how to use this report? Hey, here are all 500 KPIs that we've got. Which ones are going to be most important to you? What are you interested in today? And a full team there of real estate and data analysts who are there by your side to help with all of that. It's rather amazing. What we've seen is that we have organizations who are able to go from an old system or an old manual way of doing things and be able to create not only time in their day. One of the metrics I love here is an organization we worked with that wanted to create for everybody in the org, their property managers, their asset managers, owners, everybody, an additional 8 hours a week to focus just on real estate. Not on tech, not on reporting, not on data, not on anything that was not directly real estate related. Whether that means how do we grow the real estate, what are our acquisition targets? Do we have assets ready for disposition? Are there other things strategically that we can do? And we were able to do that for them, plus some.
Wow, that's really cool. And I really actually find your answer there valuable. It's more of a done for you, especially on the onboarding side of things. Mm-hmm. Because that is where a lot of us get lost in bringing on technology. It's like, oh my gosh, this is, I just don't understand. It's going to take forever to get it implemented. And by the time we get it implemented, we've lost out on how much ever progress we could have made on something else.
Exactly right.
Why are we messing with it?
Especially in a market dynamic like this, right? Where we've got so much activity now, kind of like, okay, are we going this way or this way or this way or that way? Or what's going on with this asset, with this deal, with that particular opportunity that's on my plate?
Right.
Trying to keep track of all of that and implement technology, incredibly difficult, which is why we lift that whole thing off of you.
I love it. Very, very cool. And is there anything else that we should know to highlight here on this show before we sign off as it pertains to Lobby CRE, what you guys are doing, where you guys are going, anything I've missed?
I think just one big thing. And that's
just one.
So you talk about, hey, I'm not a technologist, and we think that's great. We have recently launched the Academy of CRE and Innovation here at 30 Capital, and I serve as an executive in residence there. This academy is a great source for anybody that wants to build or sharpen their skills, specifically within real estate, focused in critical areas. So, for example, our first 2 courses here are in debt and equity optimization, how to go and do that. And we're leveraging a number of mid-career functional experts who have been doing this for quite some time, as well as some later career industry heavyweights that are providing a lot more context into market dynamics and how things shift. It's been great for our students. We've had just about 100 folks now go through these certification courses. We've got another one in data and analytics. So you decide, you wake up one morning, you're like, I want to know more about data and how I can derive value from data. Excellent. Academy of CRE and Innovation is there for you by your side to teach you all of the cool new things that you can do with real estate data.
That is awesome. Is there, tell us while we're on this topic, how does someone find that resource?
Yeah, you go to theacademyofcre.com and it will be right there available for you. You can go and register, and I'll even leave you with this, all right? If there's a listener here who's interested in taking one of these courses, participating in our panel sessions, or even becoming an expert in residence, please reach out. I have a lot of free codes to get you a free certification course.
That's fantastic. And thank you for taking the time to come on the show today. If our listeners do want to reach out to you about that particular topic or any other topic, what is the best way to do that?
Oh, email might be the best, as much as I love to ignore it. Hollander@30capital.com. Or you can reach out via the Lobby CRE site at lobbycre.com.
Fantastic. We'll make sure you put both of those there in the show notes. And thank you for coming on the show today. I certainly appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sam.